A man convicted of killing a child in one of America's most famous missing person cases will stay in prison after the Supreme Court sided with prosecutors over concerns about his confession. The decision matters far beyond this one case. It sets limits on when federal courts can step in to fix problems in state trials, and it shows how confessions obtained through police interrogation can be harder to challenge than many people realize. He waived those rights and confessed again on video. He went on to confess multiple times to family members and psychiatrists.